Hi everybody, I've been trying to look through your first couple of days worth of activities, and a lot of people are saying they're having trouble distinguishing between a sine graph and a cosine graph. So I figured I'd make a little video to show you some insights here. So here are a bunch of sine graphs. Some are negative, some are positive, but they're sine graphs for one reason and one reason only. I know they're a sine graph because, I'm just going to use my purple here. Like if I draw the midline in, if the y-intercept is on the midline, it's a sine graph. Okay, before we were noticing if it was at 0, if it started at 0, 0, it's a sine graph. But since the orange guy got shifted up, he got shifted up 4, so now his y-intercept is going to be at 4. But as long as your y-intercept is in the midline of your graph, like these two, the midline is the x-axis, and so they do start at 0, 0. This one got shifted up, but he's starting at the midline. If I'm starting, I mean y-intercept. This guy's y-intercept appears to be down here. And again, you can see the graph's y-intercept is at the midline, right? I'm going to just throw this side in. If I have the midline, how do you get the amplitude? You just count up or down from the midline. What's the distance from the midline to the bottom or the midline to the top? Okay. All right, so these are all sine graphs because they start at the midline. Now, how do you know if they're positive or negative? Okay, if it starts at the midline and dips down first, it's negative. So the orange one's negative, the red one's negative. Right? And then the other two are positive because they started at the midline, but then they go up first. Boom, go up first. So orange and red are negative, blue and purple are examples of positive. Okay, so now let's look quickly at screen 10 here. Not screen 10, screen 11, sorry. All right, and these are all examples of cosine graphs. And we think they look like the sine graphs. What's the difference? Again, let's see where the y-intercept is in comparison to the midline. I'll use purple again. All right, this one, the midline appears to be here. All right, see that it does not start at the midline? The y-intercept is not at the midline. So right away, I know it's not a sine graph. For all of these, like the green one and the red one, the midline is the x-axis, okay? And then for this orange one, oh, where's the orange one's midline? Looks like it could be -2. I'm going to draw it in. See how I'm trying to eyeball it and I'm not sure. So this is how I'm going to check it. How far down do I go? 1.5. How far up do I go? 1.5. Yeah, -2. So the orange guy got shifted down 2. All right, well, so they're cosine graphs because they do not have a y-intercept that's on the midline. How do you decide if they're positive or negative cosine graphs? Okay, so if the y-intercept is at the maximum point, it's a positive cosine. This is a positive cosine because he starts at his max. The red one would also be a positive cosine because it starts at its max. All right, let's look at the green one. Green one, the y-intercept starts at the minimum. So if you're low, your lowest point is where your starting is, that's negative. That's a negative cosine. And the orange one also starts at his minimum point. So he's going to be a negative cosine graph. Okay, I hope that's helpful to you. And if you have questions, reach out via Schoology. I will be available Friday. Thank you.